Church here, and welcome to the Game Grinder, and today we're doing an unboxing video, and it's been a little bit since I've did one of these. Apparently there hasn't been that many collector's editions I was super interested in getting for some months now, which is probably the longest stretch ever since I've started doing these videos. But nonetheless, here we are, new unboxing video. I know everybody's incredibly excited, but whether you are or not, I'm excited to talk about this, especially because this game is very cool, and this is kind of more of a unique release, I would say, more just specifically because it is a little bit more limited. But as the title states, this is for the Streets of Rage 4 Limited Edition, and this was released through Limited Run Games. And before we continue checking this out, just wanted to give a little backstory about kind of this release, as there was some controversy, and a lot of times these things are kind of forgotten. This is my way of documenting some missteps made by Limited Run Games. So initially, when Limited Run Games had made the pre-orders available for the standard edition, that's all there was, and that was just fine. But turns out, as everybody jumped in on that, put in their pre-orders, Limited Run a few weeks later turned around and said, hey, we have a limited edition. And justifiably so, a lot of people were upset that they pre-ordered the standard edition not knowing that the limited edition was coming. And as is, Limited Run, once you place an order with them, you can't cancel it. So people were upset, and Limited Run actually did the right thing, was saying, hey, if you wanted to order the limited edition, we'll go ahead and let you cancel your standard edition. So of course I did that. And then to kind of top it all off, it wasn't too much longer that another publisher actually announced that they were going to have a version of Streets of Rage 4 available for physical release, and theirs would be available at launch of the game, where Limited Run, especially recently, can take up to 6 months for them to actually manufacture their physical versions of the games. So here we are, kind of, I wouldn't say we were duped or tricked, but they didn't really kind of give us the full picture. So, as many people were, again, justifiably so, upset that they weren't going to get their game 6 months later when they could have ordered through this other company, a couple steps were made that I think were good things to do. They didn't necessarily fix all of this, but kind of sweeten the deal a little bit. So first off, they said that everybody who had ordered a version of their game, standard or limited edition, was getting a free soundtrack for Streets of Rage 4, which I think is pretty sweet. It's not a full soundtrack, unfortunately, but hey, it's something. And what's really cool about Streets of Rage 4 is the soundtrack was done by Yuzo Koshiro, who did all the other Streets of Rage soundtracks. So that's pretty neat. And then on top of it, Lizard Cube also gave out Steam codes to anybody who ordered the limited edition, because maybe it's because people spent a bunch of money on this and weren't going to be able to play the game for, you know, like I said, like 6 months. So that was pretty cool. I did get a Steam code, so I was able to play through Streets of Rage 4 at launch. And then, I guess talking a little bit more about Streets of Rage 4, of course, this is the follow-up. Many years after the original trilogy, I think 25 years since Streets of Rage 3, somewhere around there. And this is a pretty cool follow-up, very true to what the series was, but this was made by Lizard Cube and Guard Break. Lizard Cube is mostly well known previously for their Wonder Boy 3, the Dragon's Trap remake, where that was one of the cool games where you can kind of switch between the retro style graphics and the new graphics, and the retro music and the new music with the click of a button. But really what set it apart was its art style, all hand-drawn, and Streets of Rage 4 did the exact same thing. It's all hand-drawn art style, which looks absolutely fantastic. Lizard Cube does an fantastic job with their games. I'm really interested to see what they do next. But if you don't know much about Streets of Rage, it is a beat-em-up series, one of the most highly regarded in the genre. Definitely one of the best beat-em-up series around, and I think Streets of Rage 4 is one of the best beat-em-ups, period. A lot of great replayability, lots of characters, lots of secrets and unlockables, and fantastically well made. So enough about the game, let's check out this limited edition. So I wasn't expecting this to be as chunky as it is. I figured it was going to be a smaller statue. I mean, of course they did say how large the things were, but I read that information, kind of goes in one ear out the other, and when this arrived, I was pleasantly surprised by the size of this box. But let's go ahead and just check this out real quick before we open it up. Got some pretty cool art, main key art there on the front, and they also have some additional art on the sides, backs, and wherever. I'm assuming this is the front of the box. Streets of Rage 4 at the top, nothing on the bottom. So, and then of course along with that we also get the art card as well. But let's go ahead and crack this open, check out what it comes with. So a little bit of a self-correction here. As I mentioned, Limited Run had released a standard edition and this limited edition as well. There also was a classic edition, which was kind of like a mid-tier, and that's what I had originally ordered. So I believe it was the people who ordered the standard edition, classic edition, and limited edition got the free bonus Selected Works soundtrack, as I mentioned. And we'll get to the rest as we go through this video. Kind of forgot everything that this came with, so I believe the first item here is the actual, the classic edition of the game. Comes in a reproduction style Sega Genesis clamshell, a little bit larger than what the Sega Genesis games were themselves, but this is still pretty sweet. And besides just throwing some art on, it actually looks very much like Sega Genesis games did back in the day. Screenshots and all the information there. Go ahead and crack this open. So of course, what is any collector's edition or limited edition without the game itself? This, I believe, is a reversible cover, and this has the original Japanese name of the game, which is Bare Knuckle 4, and it's called Streets of Rage here in North America. And then in this classic edition is another one of my favorite inclusions with any collector's edition or limited edition, and that is the steelbook, and has the same art here as on the box, on the back as well, and then inside basically the same art. And I forgot about this next part, but hey, look at that, we got another little Sega Genesis reproduction. Different art on the front, it has the same stuff on the back. This is actually the actual size of a Sega Genesis game, but what's neat is this random thing, kind of different, unique. I always like a little uniqueness in collector's editions, but this comes with a steel, or I think it's steel, it might be aluminum, but kind of like a mock Sega Genesis cartridge. Not playable, this is just for display. It's empty, but on the front there you have, again, the main art for Streets of Rage 4, and that's pretty cool. You know, I like when they do things a little bit different. I like my staples, I like my soundtracks and figures and steel books and whatnot, but I like a little uniqueness in my collector's editions too. And of course, what is a collector's edition without me forgetting about what is included? I did mention the Selected Works soundtrack, but this actually does come with the full soundtrack for Streets of Rage 4. So win-win there, right? And I will say this is a fantastic soundtrack. And then the next thing, this also comes with a poster. I never actually hang up my posters that come with the games just because space constraints. Maybe someday when I have, maybe I can upgrade, get a larger game room, can put up more posters. But anytime there's wall space, that's always game space. So it's kind of a weird predicament to have. I kind of have this spot right here on my wall that I could probably put some posters up, which I've been considering doing. I just haven't done that yet. Well, and this is a bit unusual. Usually in your collector's editions, you have all your items and then your statue. But for some reason, within the packaging for the statue was the art book. And we got an art book for Streets of Rage 4, which is pretty cool. Like I said, Lizard Cube does some really, really awesome hand-drawn art for this game. And art books are always excellent things to have in a collector's edition. And then we have the main focus of this collector's edition, and that is the figure that this comes with. And this comes with a street chicken. And I'm just joking. This actually comes with the statue, but it comes with a little street chicken. It's like foam, so that's pretty funny. These sorts of things never really get attention in collector's editions or kind of collectibles. But I'm happy to have this. For anybody who doesn't know what a street chicken is, basically, here's a game, a beat-em-up game where you're walking around beating people up, and every once in a while you can smash a trash can, and hey, there is a chicken or a turkey, and it gives you health. So it's always good to see this. Okay, so then on to the main focus of this limited edition, and that is the awesome statue this comes with. And this is actually really cool. I'm pretty excited. And here we are. We have a statue with Axel and Blaze on the base there. It says Streets of Rage 4, and these actually look very good. A lot of times the statues are pretty close to the likeness. I would say sometimes I'm actually kind of disappointed. They look a little derpy, but this looks really well made. It's got some heft to it, so it's nice and solid, not cheap, and has some really cool detailing. Not like fine detailing, as you know, characters are kind of like flat textured and whatnot. But what I'm particularly happy about is that this isn't just one character, that this includes multiple characters. Blaze is my favorite character from Streets of Rage, but Axel is a badass too. So yeah, I will say this is pretty sweet. I'm pretty happy with this. I think Limited Run did a fantastic job. I'm sure they worked with Lizard Cube to kind of design this, and not really sure how that process works, but well done. Well done. So that is the Streets of Rage 4 Limited Edition. Of course, I would love to hear your thoughts. Hopefully you've played Streets of Rage 4, if not the rest of the series as well. With that said, what is your favorite Streets of Rage game? And of course, let me know your thoughts about this collector's edition. I'm pretty happy about this. They checked off all my boxes, and this statue is very cool. So definitely let me know your thoughts, and then as always, thank you very much for watching, and I will talk to you next time on the Game Grinder.